Hello all, this is ML Naruto. Welcome to my channel. Today I am very excited to start this data structures and algorithm series in Python. But before deep diving into the topics, just have a look at this amazing quote from Naruto series. Hard work is worthless for those that don't believe in themselves. This simple but amazing quote explains if anyone who doesn't have self-confidence in themselves, their hard work will be felt as worthless. So one should have self-confidence in themselves. So today our agenda is to look for these four topics. That is, why do we need data structures and algorithms? And the second one is what is meant by an algorithm? And the third one is what is data structures? What are data structures? And the fourth one is what are all the data types in Python? This data types topic has two subtopics like basic data types and complex data types. In this particular basic data types, it has numeric, Boolean, and sequence data types. So for now, we're gonna complete all these four topics, and specifically in data types, we're gonna cover this particular basic data types topic. So let me open this paint. Okay. So let me have a look at this agenda. Need for the DSA. Okay. Need of data structures. Okay. For example, so this is a problem. Okay. So this is a problem, and if you are given a problem, this kind of problem, let's assume this is a problem, and if you are given this kind of problem, you need to solve this problem. How do you solve this problem? By just applying a code, right? You need to write a code. I have given a real life scenario, and you need to solve that real life scenario by writing a code in any programming language, right? So that's nothing but a software, you can call it as, for example. And if you want to solve this particular problem, and what is the first thing we need to have is nothing but we need to solve this problem by writing a code or a software. Okay. And then, so in order to write a code, what is the first step in writing a code? It's nothing but we need to develop an algorithm. We need to develop an algorithm. So here, in order to solve a particular problem, we need to write a code, and for that code, we need to have an algorithm. What do you mean by an algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but it's a step-by-step process. It's a step-by-step process. A step-by-step process to solve a problem. So what do you mean by an algorithm? Algorithm is nothing but it's a step-by-step process to solve an algorithm. So given any problem, we follow this kind of approach. We need to develop an algorithm that involves a step-by-step process which can essentially solve any problem. So this is nothing but an algorithm. This is the definition or the explanation of algorithm. But algorithm, let's say we have a problem. Let's say we have any kind of problem, and for that problem, we need to develop any kind of logic. We need to have a logic, right? So, for example, we are given some problem. Basically a maths problem. So, and we need to understand this particular problem. Understand the logic, right? We need to understand the logic, and then we need to convert this logic to code. And then give this code to the system. And we get, the code will get processed, and then we get the output, right? So this is the process. So first of all, did you understand what do you mean by an algorithm? It's a step-by-step instructions to solve a problem, any problem actually. So here, an algorithm, first of all, we need to understand what is the logic behind this particular problem. In order to solve a problem, we need to understand what type of logic do we need to apply. For example, we have a kind of maths problem, and in order to write a code, first of all, we need to find out what is the basic formula behind that. Okay, for example, when I say you need to find out the area of a triangle, so what do you say? You can't just write the code, right? You just need to understand what is the basic formula for having the area of an equilateral triangle. So then you can understand the area of an equilateral triangle is nothing but root 3 by 2 into s square, side square, right? So then you need to translate that particular formula in terms of code. Okay, that is this kind of step. First, understand the logic behind that. Logic is nothing but you need to find out the formula and then convert this logic to the code, because system doesn't understand that particular maths, right? In order to understand this particular logic in terms of systems language, we need to convert the human understanding to the understanding of the system. That is, we need to convert this basic formula in terms of coding, right? So an algorithm can be converted into a computer code using Python language or any other language. And then, so what I can say is, algorithm need to be converted systems language, because computer doesn't understand the human kind of emotions. We just need to pass the input in terms of the machine language. That's nothing but the systems language using any programming language, Python or Java or anything. But one thing for sure, like we have right now, we understand what is meant by an algorithm, and we want to know what is meant by the data structures. Okay, so let's say I have a variable x is equal to 9. So I'm actually assigning something. I'm actually assigning some data to this particular variable, right? And in my Jupyter notebook or in my Google Colab, when I call this x value, or when I just print out this x value, what will be the output? The output will be the 9. Why? Because Why? Because we have already assigned a value to this particular variable x. Okay. So this is nothing but assigning a value to a variable. This is nothing but assigning a data. Okay. This is nothing. 9 is nothing but the data. And this is nothing but the variable. We are actually assigning a data to this particular variable. And what if we want to apply this algorithm? For example, in order to solve any kind of maths problem, we need to understand, we need to apply this algorithm, right? We need to apply this algorithm. But the working of this algorithm, like if you want this algorithm to work efficiently, then our data needs to be, if the algorithm, if you want the algorithm to be working very efficiently, then the data should be in a structured format. Why do we need the data structures? Because when we assign something to a variable, it gets stored inside this particular variable, right? And when you want to call this in future, then the particular data needs to be stored very in a structured format, because it's always desired that the computer program or the coding should be efficient as possible. That is, the performance of this particular algorithm also depends upon how well your data is structured. Okay. If your data is not structured, then the algorithm won't work properly. It may take few minutes or few more seconds. That's nothing but it won't work very efficiently, right? So if your algorithm, if you want your algorithm to be working very efficiently, then your data should be in a structured format. This is the need for the data structures, and this is what is the need for the need to have an algorithm. Because let's say, okay, I'll explain here. Let's say I have a value 9, and I have assigned this particular value to a variable called x. X is equal to 9. Then what happens? This particular 9 value will go to the memory of the particular language, and then it gets stored here, 9. Okay. And it has some kind of like a token. When you can call it as a token for example purpose. Okay, x. So this is all having inside this particular system. Okay, this is all having inside this particular memory, our memory, system's memory. And when you call, and let's say when you call print, okay, when you call print x, then what happens? This token will get triggered. So this x is the representation of this particular memory. So inside this particular memory, we have the value 9. So when you call this particular x, then this particular value will get printed out. So it is very essential for us to store this particular value in a structured format, because if if it is not stored in a structured format, then it would be very difficult. If we call x, then it would be very difficult to get printed out the same result 9. Okay, so this is the need of the data structures and algorithms. Okay, so this is the purpose of that. And now, okay, so we have already covered this. Why do we need DSA? And before that, we have already understood what is meant by an algorithm and what is meant by a data structure. And then now here we have the particular topic, data types. What is meant by data type? What is meant by data type? What is meant by data type? So let's say I have a variable. 1 minute. Okay, let's say let's say I have a variable called x. Oh, sorry. We can use this notepad. It would be better. Let's say we have a variable x equal to 10. Okay. And we have another variable a is equal to 2.56. We have another variable c is equal to ram. And we have another variable named d, which is nothing but 2 plus 3j. So first of all, what is mean by this particular term data type? So data is the main thing. If you want to work on a specific programming language, let's say you are working on Python, or you are working on Java, or something, or etc., whatever it may be, you need to have the particular data. You need to work on data. Without data, there is nothing to work on, because everything you will work on will be stored in the form of some numbers, some strings, or some kind of format. So that particular format is nothing but the type of the data. For example, this 10 here is nothing but the data. 2.56, it's a data. Ram, this is a string, but it's a data. 2 plus 3j, it's a data. These are all the terms of, these are all nothing but the data, right? So when you are assigning a particular data to a variable, so you can name it whatever you want. I have named this as x, and I have named this particular data as a, c, d. But what is the basic difference among these 4 data types? See here, it's a 10, right? It's a number. So what you can call this? It's an integer, right? So, and what is this? This is also an integer, right? 2.56. But we should not call this as an integer, because can you find this particular difference here? Like, we have a decimal point here, and we don't have here. So if you don't have any kind of decimal points, and if the data is presented in a particular numerical format, then we can call it as an integer data type. And what if the data has some kind of decimal point? It's like just like a full stop. Okay, it has some kind of point in between the numbers. So then it's a sign that you need to call this as a float. It's a float data type, right? And when you don't have any kind of numbers for your variable, you just have some kind of characters inside a single quote or a double quote. See here, when you have any kind of characters inside a single quote or a double quote, then you need to understand that it's nothing but a string, right? What do you mean by string? String is nothing but a collection of characters. This particular R itself is a character, right? A is itself a character. M is itself a character. So this collection of all the characters is nothing but a string. And this string should be presented inside a single quote or a double quote. We can present this particular word Ram inside a single quote also. Or you can use like this, whatever. But the string should be present inside a single or double quote. So what do you mean by this D, variable D? It has a particular data 2 plus 3j. So what is that? Let's understand. So what is meant by this 2? We have already seen that it's an integer, right? When you find a numerical data, then you can call it as integer, right? And what is this 3j? This is nothing but imaginary number. This j, this particular letter j, is a representation for this imaginary number. So when you have a data which has been presented in a particular format like this, a collection, I mean, it's a group of an integer, it's a collection of an integer, not a collection, you can call it as a combo. It's a combination of an integer and a combination of an integer and an imaginary number. So if you have, or if you notice a data with this kind of combination, you can call that as, what you can call, complex data type, right? This is a complex data type, and this is nothing but a string data type. This is nothing but 2.56 is nothing but a float data type. 10 is nothing but an integer data type. Okay, so just scroll up, and when you look at here, we have already covered data types, and inside that data types, I need to cover basic data types right now. So I have just covered what is meant by this numeric data type. Why are we calling this particular data type as numeric data type? Just look at here. Here, when you observe, here it has some kind of number, right? Integer. And here, when you look at here, it has some kind of number, whether it may be integer or a float, but it has some number, right? Okay. And when you look at here, 2 plus 3j, it has some kind of number. So all the three variables, this kind of, I mean, this 10 and this 2.56 and this 2 plus 3j, these three are known as this particular numeric data type, right? I'll give the examples here. Example for the float, example for the integer, right? Integer is nothing but 10, and example for the particular float, it's nothing but 9.56, and example for this complex, nothing but 3 plus 2j. This is the example representation for this particular complex data type. So with this, we have already covered what are all the numeric data types that has been presented. So now we gonna cover, but before that, let me have a practical hands-on. Let me have a hands-on for this numeric data type, right? Okay. Let's open this Google Colab here, and I'll show you some of the hands-on experience for this particular data types. Okay, let's say I have a variable x. 1 minute, I'll just increase the font size. It it would be better right now. Okay, x is equal to let's say I'm giving a particular name like ML Naruto. Okay, this is a kind of data. Okay, this is the data. I'm just passing this data. I'm just assigning this data to a variable called x. Okay, and I'm taking another variable y, and I'm just assigning this y a number like 99. And I'm just taking another variable z is equal to I'm assigning a particular number like 8.27, and I'm assigning a variable a is equal to 2 plus 3j. So these are all my four variables. X is equal to ML Naruto, Y is equal to 99, Z is equal to 8.27, A is equal to 2 plus 3j. And you, let's assume you are a fresher and you don't know, you don't have any kind of knowledge, about these particular data types, and you want to know what are all these. So let's say, let's just print, let's just hit shift enter. Okay. It may take few seconds to load. Okay, so it has been loaded now. So you want to find out what are all the data types. So what we can do is we have a function called type. Okay, inside Python we have a function called type function. So this is a particular function which is used to uh, describe about a particular data type. Okay, for example, we have this kind of variable x, right? So what I'm doing is I'm just assigning this x variable inside this type function to know the data type of ML Naruto. I just want to know what kind of data is it. So I'm just assigning here x to this type function, and let's know what kind of data is that. So it 1 minute, I'm just zooming out. Okay, so here you can find out it's a kind of string data because it's been presented inside the double quotes, right? Whether it is being presented in single quotes or double quotes, here we can find out it's a kind of string. Why? Because it has some kind of alphabets, right? It has some kind of alphabets, so we can find out that it's a kind of string. And let's find out the other data types also. Type of y. See here, I have just passed 99 to this particular variable y, and when you want to find out this particular data type of the y, it shows that integer, because 99 is a numerical, it's a number, right? So you'll get this particular integer data type. And type of z, see here, it's a float. Why? Because it has some kind of decimal point here, so we can call it as a float. And what if we want to find out this data type of this particular variable a? It's a complex. Why? Because it's a combination of numerical and imaginary numbers, right? It's a combination of integer and imaginary number 3j. J is nothing but the imaginary representation here. So by this we can find out the types of the data, and this is nothing but the basic data type, right? So yeah, and if you want, you can try for some other examples, like you can try whatever you want. And I'm just printing here another a 1 is equal to 45.6. I want to print out what kind of data is it. So I'm just passing this a1 inside this type function, and I'm just passing this whole type function inside this print function, right? So when you hit shift enter, you'll get that it's a float kind of data. And okay, so we have already covered integer. What is meant by an integer data type, float, complex. We have already done with this. And now what we can do is we'll jump onto this Boolean data types. Okay, I'll show you the real hands-on examples of this particular Boolean. Okay, let's move on to this Google Colab again. And Boolean, what is meant by a Boolean? It's nothing but evaluating a particular statement or a situation, whether it's true or false. We just want to know whether the scenario is a truth or a false. Let's say uh, let's say I just want to print the type of, okay, no worries, I can explain you. We have a function called bool function. Okay, if I pass if I pass something to this particular bool, then let's know what happens. Okay, we can find out. I'm just passing this 9 here. When I hit shift enter, let's see here, it's showing the output as true. Why? Because here what I'm saying is we are just passing this particular 9 number to this Boolean function. That's nothing but we are checking whether this particular number is 9 or not. See here, it's itself a 9 here, right? So it's itself a 9. So when you want to check whether it's 9 or not, then what happens? It will just print out it's a true, because that's a 9, right? And you want to find out this particular type of this bool, right? And just see here what happens. It's printing out bool. Bool is nothing but it's a kind of data, because we are checking whether this particular integer is 9 or not. If it's 9, it just prints out this particular output as a true. If it's not 9, if it's not a if it's not that particular value, then it just prints out the value as false, right? We'll experiment with this value as 0. What happens? Let's see. False. Why? Because 0. What is meant by 0? Okay, for example, I'll explain you with a real kind of okay, let's say we have an x-axis like this, we have an y-axis like this. Okay, here we have a value called 0, and here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Okay, and let's imagine this is a kind of a scale, right? This is a kind of a scale, and I'm just saying here the length is let's say 6 centimeters. So what does this mean? That particular object has its length as 6 centimeters. That's nothing but that particular object has some kind of length. Okay, it has some kind of length. And what is that particular value of the length? Here we are saying that its length is 6 centimeters. Okay, it's nothing but it has some kind of length. Okay, and when I say when I say the length is 0. Okay, when I say the length is 0 here, what does that mean? That means it doesn't have any kind of length. The point is itself here, it doesn't have any kind of length. So we can call there is no length here. I mean, if you want to calculate the length for this particular point, what is the value of it? It's 0 centimeters, because 0 has no value. And if you say 1, 2, 3, or any number that is greater than 0, it has some kind of value, because that's positive, right? When you say 0, that's neither positive nor negative. It's a neutral value. Neutral value doesn't have any kind of uh, value to it. So when you say length is equal to 0 centimeters, it doesn't have any value. So similarly, when we say bool of 0, it just prints out false. When I say bool of any value which is greater than 1, for example, when I say 0.1, what happens? Let's see. Let's try. It's true. Why? Why it's true? Because it's this particular value, that is 0.1, which is greater than, because it's greater than 0, right? This is false. Why? Because it's equal to 0. That's nothing but a neutral value. Okay, so this is the scenario. And what happens if we want to Boolean is nothing but the true or false, right? Boolean Boolean means true or false. Nothing but checking whether a particular situation or a value is true or false. See here, Boolean is nothing but checking a particular situation or a value whether it's true or false. When it is 0, then the Boolean will be, the particular output will be false, because 0 has no value. When it's just about the 0, it definitely has some kind of value, then it will definitely prints out true. Okay, and when you want this particular type of true, when you want to know what is a kind of what's a kind of data is it, let's find out. It's a Boolean data type, right? It's a bool. And when you want to find out type of false, it will also a bool, because that's a Boolean data type. This is nothing but the Boolean data type, and this particular Boolean data type will also be used with some kind of numbers. For example, I'll teach you. For example, I have x is equal to 0. Okay, I have x is equal to 0. And what if bool of x, nothing but 0 doesn't have any value, right? So it will definitely prints out false. Let's see. Yeah, it's false. When x is equal to 0.0001, okay, what happens? Let's see. When you want to know this particular, is this a boolean or not? You just want to know this. When I pass this x here, it's true. Why? Because it has some kind of value, because it's already greater than, 0. 0.0001 is nothing but greater than 0. Why? Because let's say let's say let's say we have a sorry, let's say we have an x-axis, okay, and here it's the value of 0, okay. And now let's jump back to this our problem. Here we have noticed that our x value is 0.00001, right? Let's say it's 0, and here we have -1, -2, and so on. And here we have 1, 2, 3, and so on. So when look at what look at our value 0.0001, right? Which is nothing but this particular value is lying in between this 0 and 1, right? It's the value of 0.0001. The value is lying here in between 0 and 1. So it has some kind of value. It's not a neutral value. So when you want to find out whether it's a bool or not, it just prints out it's true. Let's see. What if x is equal to minus? What if x is equal to -6? Let's say we have a negative value and we want to know whether it's a bool or not. We want to know whether what kind of data is it. It's true. Why it's true? Because I've already explained. Why? Because 0 doesn't have any kind of value, but a negative value, it has some kind of meaning, right? 2, -2, it has some kind of meaning. +1, +2, +3, -2, -1, -3, it has some kind of meaning. Whether it's negative or whether it's positive, it has some kind of meaning. But 0 has no meaning at all. You want me to give an example? Okay, I'll give an example. Let's say uh, bank balance. Bank balance is equal to some 2 lakhs. I have my bank balance as 2 lakhs. So what does this mean? It has some kind of value, right? It's very much high in value. What if I have my bank balance? My bank balance is equal to -500. -500. It means it's in negative numbers. That is, still we need to have 500 at least as a minimum amount in our bank account. Or else I can give another example. For example, we have a temperature, right? We have a temperature. So when you are in a Himachal, when you are in a Himachal Pradesh, or when you will be in some kind of Kashmir or Ladakh, then there the temperature will be some -10 degrees or 20 degrees or etc. Okay, so -10 degrees, let's say. So it has some kind of value, because what it explains is it has that particular amount of uh, coolingness across that particular region. So the amount of coolingness is described by this particular number -10 degrees, right? -10 degrees is nothing but it's an explanation of how cool that particular location is. When I say the temperature is equal to 50 degrees Celsius. It's extreme hot, right? It's extreme cold, extreme hot. And what if the temperature is equal to 0 degrees Celsius? Does it have any kind of value? Does it have any kind of importance? No, because that's a neutral value, right? It's a neutral in position. It's a neutral in position. It doesn't have any kind of value. So whether our integer is 0, sorry, whether our variable has any kind of number other than 0 is nothing but it's a bool. If I have this particular positive value 50, that's a bool. If I have this particular minus 10 degrees value, that's a bool because it has some kind of value. But what if I have 0? It's a neutral value. It's not a bool. So it definitely gives us the false. It definitely gives us the false. See here, that's what it is. So by this we have already completed all these particular 3 points, and inside this particular 4th point, that is data types, we want to cover basic data types. Inside this basic data types, we have already covered numeric data type and Boolean data type. Now we are in a position to jump into this particular sequence data type. Sequence. Okay. So what is meant by a sequence data types? So sequence data type. Sequence. What is this? What does it mean by sequence? Sequence is nothing but it has some kind of particular order, right? Sequence is nothing but an order. Order is nothing but, let's say we have ascending order or descending order. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And we have another kind of order like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and so on, right? So this particular, it has some kind of sequence in data. Sequence is nothing but the consecutive kind of thing. Okay. So I'll explain what's the use of this particular, or what are the characteristics of this particular sequence data types is. First of all, it can be used to store multiple values. It is used to store multiple values in a single variable. I'll give this example for this, but just understand what are all the characteristics of this particular sequence data types. Okay, in an organized and efficient way. Okay, so just understand this definition. Sequence data type is used to store. It's not a definition, it's actually a property. It is used to store multiple values in a single variable in an organized and efficient way. Okay, that's nothing but, when you look here, see here, I have the value 1. I'm just pressing the enter. I have another variable y is equal to 2. I have another variable z is equal to 3. I'm just hitting shift enter, right? So here what we can observe is we have the 3 variables and we have three particular values, 1, 2, 3 for the 3 particular variables, right? So what if we want to present all these 3 variables in a single variable like x? Okay, I want to print all these 3 data types, I mean 3 particular values in a single data type. How to do that? let's say I have a variable n is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. See here, I'm able to present all these three values inside a single variable. I'm just passing all these three values to a single variable. This is nothing but list. But before going to this topic of list, I want to have a particular topic called strings. Strings, right? I want to explain this particular topic, strings. What is meant by strings? Wait a minute. Here, I'll tell you the examples of the sequence data types. Strings and range, list, tuples. Okay. So one by one, I'll explain all the four topics, subtopics of the sequence data type. Okay. First of all, I'll explain what is meant by string. So what is meant by string? String is nothing but a sequence of characters represented in a single or double quotes. See here, string is nothing but it's a sequence of characters that are represented in a single or double quotes. If you want me to give an example for this, I can give an example like ML Naruto. This is a string because it has a sequence of all the characters and which has been presented inside a double quotes. I can also present this particular string inside a single quotes. Like this. Okay. We can see this particular example in terms of hands-on later, but let me just explain what are all the characteristics of a string. So first of all, string is nothing but it's a sequence of characters that are being presented in a single or double quotes. I'm just giving this as an example. ML Naruto, it's a kind of string which has been presented in double quotes. And ML Naruto, I have presented this particular string inside a single quote this time. So let's see how it will be when you want to work it inside the Python. Let's see. I have a variable called I is equal to I have Python. This is a kind of string, right? And H, another variable, I have Python inside a single quotes. Okay. And just hit shift enter. And you want to know what kind of data type is it. So you just pass that particular variable inside this type function and you will get it. See here, it's getting me as a string because this is a sequence of characters which has been presented inside a double quotes. So this is nothing but a string. And what if I want to know this particular data type for H variable? I'm just passing this H variable inside this type function. See here, it's showing me as a string. And what if this is a particular example in which it has a string in a single line? What if I have string in multiple lines? Let's say I have a para, For example, I have a variable called t, and inside this t, I have some kind of string like this. I am a sorry, not good. I'm a bad boy. Graduated from top school across India. So I have this particular sequence of characters, and I need to present this inside a quotes, whether it may be single or double quotes. I need to present this. But what happens if I present this inside a single quotes? Let's see. It's giving me an error because single quote won't work for a string which is having some multiple lines, right? Single quote will only work for a string which has been presented in on a single line. See here, Python, it has been presented on a single line. But here I have this particular white space that is nothing but the indentation, and I have this word India on a second line, right? So here in this scenario, the single quote won't be working. So what we need to do, we need to apply the double quotes. We need to remove the single quotes and we need to apply this double quotes. What happens if I hit shift enter? I'm sure it won't work. Yes, see here, it won't work because single and double quotes only work when we have a string across, on a single line itself. Okay, but we have a particular sentence here, and that sentence uh, is on some multiple lines, right? Here it's a one line, and here India and some white space we have on the second line. So for this, what we can do is just remove this double quotes, select this uh, whole sentence, and just give the double quotes one time, another time, third time. So when you provide these triple quotes, we can call it as uh, triple quotes. Then shift enter, press shift enter. It won't give any kind of error because why? Because triple quotes are being used when we have a string on multiple lines. I'm just writing here. No, I'm just writing here. Triple quotes are being used when you have your string across multiple lines. I'll give you another example for this. Don't worry. But before that, do you want to find out what kind of data type is it? We can find that by using type function, and I'm just passing this t variable inside this type function. See here, it's showing me this output as a string because all the data which has been presented inside this triple quotes is nothing but a sequence of characters. And we all know that what is meant by sequence of characters? Nothing but a string, right? See here, sequence of characters, nothing but string. So that's it. I'll give another example for this. When we have variable o is equal to, let's say I want to print out, I want to type some kind of rhyming. Do you know this particular rhyming, Johnny Johnny yes papa? Now I'm gonna print that. So here I'm gonna print that Johnny Johnny yes papa. I'm just removing these quotes and I just want to have this plain text, and then I'll apply that Johnny Johnny yes papa, placing that exclamatory mark here, and then Johnny Johnny yes Papa. Johnny Johnny yes Papa. Eating sugar. No Papa. Open your mouth. Ha ha ha. So this is my particular string. String is nothing but a sequence of character. So I want to assign this particular multiple lines of string to this particular variable O. So what can I do? I have just explained, right? I need to present this entire string inside a triple quotes. One time, second time, third time. So by this, see here, by this we are now assigning the entire string to this particular variable O. So when you hit shift enter, it won't give me an error. So I want to find out what kind of data type is it. So I'm just passing this variable O inside a type function. It will revert me as a string variable. It's as a string data type. So this is all about the sequence, the string data type, right? Here in string data type, I want to cover one particular important concept called the plus operator. Plus operator. Plus operator. What do you mean by that plus operator? Let's see. Plus operator. Plus operator is nothing but what is it? What is its job? It concatenates. It concatenates two or more strings together by joining them. See here, what is the definition of the plus operator? It concatenates two or more strings together by joining them, right? So when you look at, for an example here, I have a variable called x is equal to team, right? And I have a variable called y, which is nothing but India. So here, when I print x, what happens? I'm getting this particular word team. When I print y, what happens? I'm just getting this particular word India. But I want to print this particular two words at the same time side by side. That is, I want to print that as team India like this. Okay, like this I need to print that. So how to do that? We'll see here. So see here, I have this variable x and I have this variable y. I need to print both the variables side by side. So what we can do is we just need to pass that particular variable x, and we need to pass this operator plus operator, and then we need to pass this y operator. See here, and you need to pass all this inside a print function. You pass this inside a print function. What we can do, it will give us the combined format of the string. See here, we are getting this team India, but I think it's not appropriate because I just want to print that as team India, right? We need to have this particular space here. But what happens here? We don't have any kind of space. We don't have any kind of space here. So for that, what we can do is we need to call this print function, and inside that x pass plus and Let's see what happens. Hmm, sorry. Actually, when you want to have this particular, where is it? See here. You need when you want to have this particular two words Team India in this particular format. What we can do is we need to provide x is equal to team, and here we need to have some kind of one particular digit space. We need to leave that particular space for the gap purpose. And when you have this y is equal to India, and when you hit shift enter, and when you pass this particular values inside this print function x plus y, what happens? See here we got our output in the format Team India. So this is the required output which we want. See here, that's it. So that's what the one important characteristic about this particular string data type. That's nothing but the plus operator. And I have another operator called asterisk operator, which is a representation of multiplication. It is representation of multiplication. So this is actually used with numbers as well as with the strings also. We can use this asterisk symbol with the numbers as well as with the strings. What happens when we use this asterisk operator with the strings? Let's have a look here. See here, we have this particular variable x and we have this particular variable y. What if I want to print this word team 3 times? How can we do? We need to just pass that particular variable x, and we need to provide this particular asterisk operator. And then how many times do we need this particular word team? We need this word for 3 times, right? So into 3, what happens? See here, we have got the output as 3 teams, right? And let's print inside the brackets x plus y, and I want, see here, what is meant by x plus y? Team India is nothing but the x plus y. I want this particular 2 words 3 times. Okay, so I'm just passing this x plus y and I'm just multiplying this x plus y for 3 times, right? So what happens? Let's have a look. Team India, Team India, Team India. It's coming this team like 3 times, right? See here, Team India, and from here to here, Team India, Team India. So I'm getting this Team India 3 times. So, but it's looking like very clumsy. So in order to avoid that particular ambiguity, what we can do is we can just provide some space in front of this India, not in front of this India, but just beside this India. What we can do? Just hit shift enter and see here. Now it's looking good, right? What we have done is we have just provided some kind of space after India. So that's why, due to that reason, it's looking fine. Team India, Team India, Team India. We have got the output for the 3 times. So this is one amazing operator which we can use along with the strings as well as with the numbers. Okay, so in our agenda, what we have covered till now, string we have covered, yet we have three more kind of data types, that is range, list, and tuple, right? So let's have a look. So first of all, what do you mean by this range? This is a data type, right? What is meant by a range? What is meant by range? One amazing property for the string I have just forgot to mention. I'm just thinking to explain that in later, but I've just forgot. So that amazing property of the string is it's immutable. It's immutable. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by this term immutable? Immutable means we can't change. We can't change the value. Immutable means we can't change that particular value to a data type, right? For example, what we can do is, see here, when I try to print this x, what happens? It shows me the output as team. And what if I want to change that particular? Now I want to change this particular t, and inside that I want to place some kind of I. Sorry, not I want to place s. Okay, so before I have this particular word as team, and after changing I need to have that word as seam. Okay, so let's try whether we can be successful in changing that or not. So x of 0, because the string, I mean everything inside a Python will be ranked on some index based, right? Index based. So what is meant by an index? I can show you with the help of an example. What is meant by an index? Index nothing but see here, this is the memory. Okay, this is the memory, and here we have t, e, a, m, team, and this is for the space. What space? We have already provided here the space, right? See here, we have some kind of space beside the team, so that space is here. Okay, so what happens is, for this particular t word we have the index as 0, and we have this index for this particular e word, I mean e letter, as 1, and 2 for a, 3 for m. So we have these kind of index values for this corresponding characters of the string. 0 for t, 1 for e, a for, I mean 2 for a, 3 for m. So this is the usual case. This is not to the specific, I mean, string. I'm not saying this this will be implemented for the string. Okay, this is not the case. Actually, I'm just saying whenever there is some kind of data type, it will be allotted a memory space based on this particular index. When we call with the help of this index value, this item will be reflected. Okay, let's say let's say here x means we have the output as team. When I call x of 0, what happens? Let's see. T. Okay, it is giving me the particular letter as T. Okay, what happens if I want to call this particular one, I mean x of 1? What happens? E. What if I want to x of 6? It gives me an error. Why? Because see here, 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, only it has the range of 0 to 4. And when you call out of range, it says this out of range value. It says it is out of range. See here, string index out of range. What if I call 4? What happens? It gives me the space. Why it is giving me the space? Because here itself it has some kind of space, right? That space, it has some value like 4. So when you call this index value 4, the space will get reflected. See here, the space is reflecting. So, okay, I'll print out one by one. X of 0, x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, x of 4. Sorry, actually it just prints out whatever may be the last value of in this particular cell. So what we can do is we just add this print function here. Print function. See here, now I'm just hitting shift enter. What happens? Let's see. See here, I'm just getting the output as T, E, A, M separately because I've just called each letter using the particular corresponding index. X of 0 means T, X of 1 means E, X of 2 means 3, X of A means X of 3 means A, X of 4 means that particular space here, right? So when you call out of index values, for example, here the range is actually 0 to 4. When I call this 4, what happens? Let's see. When I call x of 5, it gives me an error because this is out of range, right? See here, string index out of range. Why it's out of range? Because the range is 0 to 1. But when you call for 5, x of 5, it doesn't have any kind of memory for that particular index. So it gives you an error, right? So that's nothing but the uh, that's a kind of an example how will be the that particular data will be stored inside the memory. Okay, this is an example. And right now I want to explain what is meant by range. Okay, range. I'll give this particular definition for the range. Just 1 minute. Okay. So what do you mean by range? Oh, sorry. I want to explain this particular fourth point for this string, right? It's immutable. What does that mean? Immutable is nothing but, let's say, uh, I want to replace this particular T word, T character, and instead of the T, I want to replace it with yes. Okay, I want to replace this particular T with this particular yes. Okay, so what can I do? X of 0 is equal to yes. Let's see what happens. It won't. I mean, it won't change. Why? Why? Because string is an immutable object, right? It's an immutable. See here, string object does not support item assignment. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means it is immutable. That is, we can't change the values once we have assigned, right? We can just access one by one, but we can't change the values. We cannot manipulate. For example, x of 0 equal to x of 1, we can't manipulate. It gives me an error. X of 2, we can't. Why? Why? Because it's a string. So this is one amazing property of this string we can't change. And here for the range is a data type. It's nothing but a sequence of numbers. The second characteristic is used in for and it is used in for comma while loops. Third one, it is immutable in nature. It is also a immutable object. What does that mean? What does that mean? I'll give an example. So basically I'll explain the syntax for the range. Syntax is range of start, stop, step. I'll explain what does this mean. Okay, I'll explain what is meant by start, stop, step. I'll explain all of these things, but let me give you a real example. Okay. Okay, no worries. I'll explain here itself. Then I'll go for the example, right? Start. What does the start? Start means we all know. What do you mean by the start? Start is nothing but to start anything, right? Stop. What is mean by stop? To prevent anything. Step is nothing but the difference between the start and the stop. See here, start is nothing but to start anything, stop is nothing but to stop anything, step is nothing but the difference between the gap between the start and the stop. Okay, so I'll explain the whole concept with an example. For example, we want to have a list of 10 numbers. Okay, I want to have list of 10 numbers like 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma and so on, like 10 numbers I want to print out. So how can I do that? Print of list of range of, I'll just pass simply 10. What happens when I hit shift enter? Let's see. See here, It's giving me this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See here, 1, 2, 3, total 10 numbers, 10 consecutive numbers I'm getting. Why I'm getting these consecutive numbers? Because here in the definition itself, it has, what does that range mean? A sequence of numbers. See here, it's a sequence of numbers. It's not a, it doesn't have any random order. It will have a specific order, that is a sequence. It follows a specific sequence. After 0 it will have 1, after 1 it will have 2. Likewise it will have till 10 numbers, right? We have passed the 10 inside this range function. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on, 9. Total 10 numbers. Why it's not printing 10? Why? Because it has already started with this particular number 0. In Python, everything will start from the 0. 0, 1, 2, 3. In index positions also. In Python, we have the index positions as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. And in Python, the numbers will also get started from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. And what does that mean, this list function? This is nothing but if we want to place all these numbers inside a square brackets, we'll use list function. What happens if we remove this list function? Let's see. I'm just removing this list function. What happens? See here, it just prints out range 0, 10. Why it's getting me 0, 10? Because range in the cell here, 0 means start. Okay. And 10 means stop. 10 means stop here. 10 means the stop. So here inside the range we have 0 as the start, 10 as the stop. So if you want to get all the numbers from 0 to 10, we can use the list function. Here I'm just providing the list function. Inside that list function, we are passing this range function, and inside this range function we are passing the number for which we want the numbers. See here, we are getting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on and so on. Okay, so we can also provide the step function also. We can also provide the step. Let's say we have list, print of list of range of, inside the range function, what we can do, we want to start with 1 and we want to go till 10, but with a step of 2. What happens? Let's see. It will get started with the 1, okay, and it will keeps on going with the step value 2. For example, see here, I'll explain. See here, I said range of 1, 10, 2. What does that mean? I am saying I need to have the numbers start from the 1. Okay, let's say I have this 1. Okay, I need to start from 1, and where how long, to how much will it go till the number 10, right? Till the number 10, it will keeps on printing like this. So here it will go till the 10, but here I have given a condition with 2. That means it will have the difference between each number as the difference as 2. Like I have printed 1, right? And when you have the 2 difference, let's say 1 after 1, what is the 2 difference? I mean, what is the another number with the 2 difference? See, I'll print out first of all the numbers, then I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are all the numbers, right? So these are all the numbers. And when you see here, I have just said that I need to print all the numbers from 1. And I have just given a condition with the step difference of 2. What does that mean? After 1, what is the difference of 2? It's nothing but 1, 2. So here I need to print this third item, right? So it will be the 3. Now after that, 2 difference means 1, 2. So it will print out the fifth item. After after this number, it will have the 2 difference 1, 2. So it will print out the seventh item, the 7 number. After this number, it will have the difference 2, 1, 2. It will print out number 9. See here. And after this, we don't have any kind of numbers to print. See here, 1, 2. After this, we don't have any numbers. So we have just ended with this particular values 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 as the output. See here, we got this output as 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, right? So this is an example of range function, right? So we can also provide the step as in terms of negative. See here how to do that. Print of list of range of, I want to print all my numbers start from 2. I need to go till 20, but with a difference of -5. No, not -5. I can pass it as -2. Okay, what happens? Let's see. It doesn't print. Why it's not printing? Why it's not printing? Just think why it's not printing. Why? Because let me explain. It's not printing because see here what happens. I'm just saying start with the number 2 and go on till 20 with the step function -2. Okay, here if you want to understand this, you need to understand this x and y axis. See here, I said start with the number 2 and go till the number 20. Okay, but what? But with the step of 2, right? But with the step of 2, -2. But with the step of -2. But here 2 to 20, all the numbers are lying on the same x-axis. I mean positive x-axis. But here I have passed this -2 as the step. So where it is lying, the -2 has been lying on this negative x-axis, right? This is the negative x-axis. This is the positive x-axis. So when I say just start with the 2 and go till 20 with a step of -2, it won't work because here on this x-axis, here on this x-axis, it doesn't have any kind of negative number, so it won't work. It will definitely give you an error. or it just gives you an empty list because the condition is not met. The condition has not met. See here, we are just giving an empty list. What if I'm just passing with a step of 2? What happens? See here, it just prints out all the positive numbers. Why? Because the step is in the positive side, right? For example, for example, for example, I have said the step function. For example, I have said the step function will be 2 plus 2. See here, that is, it will start from the 2 and it will goes to the 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then till 20. So this is the same, isn't the same output which I have got here? See here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Sorry, it doesn't print the 20. Why? Because I'll explain that. See here, I'll explain on this notepad. If I have 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma, no, I'll start with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 comma 11 comma 12 comma 13 comma 14 comma 15 comma 16 comma 17 comma 18 comma 19 comma 20. So these are all the values I have, and I have here I have said that start my numbers with a value of 2 and just go on till 20 with a step of 2. What happens here? What happens here? What happens here? See here, I said start with the number 2, okay, with a step of 2, right? So 1 and 2, if you remove these two differences, what will be the third value? This is nothing but the 4, right? So here it will be the 4. And 1, 2, what will be the third value? That is 6. And 1, 2, what will be the another value? 8. And 1, 2, what will be the third value? 10. And 1, 2, what will be the third value? 12. And 1, 2, what will be the third value? 14. And 1, 2, what will be the third value? 16. And 1, 2, what will be the third value? 18. And 16, 18. Okay. 1, 2, what will be the third value? 20. Usually when you say usually when you print all the numbers from 2 to 20 with a step of 2, this will be the output. But what we have got, but here we have got only till 18. We haven't got the value of 20. Why? Because remember this thing, remember this particular thing here. Here the stop function, sorry, here the stop value, it is exclusive. It won't include in our numbers in our output. Okay, it is exclusive. That means it won't be including in our output. It won't be including in our output. See here, let's say when I say print of list of range of 4 comma 4 comma 4 comma 20 comma 3. I'm passing this. See here, I have said start from the 4, go till 20. But that this particular value, this particular value is nothing but the stop value. Will not be printing right now. Why? Because this is the exclusive value. It won't be printing. See here. See here. Only till 19 it has been printed, but the particular 20th value hasn't been printed. Why? It's an exclusive value. I have already said here. It's an exclusive value. That means it won't be including in our output. So if you want to include this particular 20 value, what you can give is you can give go till 21. Then it will be printing. See here. Sorry. You need to mention 22. Then it will be printing. Oh, here the difference is 3, right? So what we can do is when you just pass this 25 value as a stop, then it will then what happens is it will be printing the 22nd value. Why it's not? Okay, if you want to understand this in a simple way, I can explain this. Okay, so here I'm just passing this. See here, the 20 is not printed. Why? Because it's an exclusive value. So if you want to print that particular 20th value also, what we can do is you need to pass that particular. You need to pass that. Let's say 22 here. What happens? See here, we are getting this 20. Why here? The same scenario. Same. When you say 22, what happens? After 18, 1, 2, we have the 20 value, right? And after the 20 value, 1, 2, we don't have another third value. So it won't be printing. It just prints till 2 to 20. So it will be the output when we say start from 2. But here we have said start from 4. So it is just printing from 4 to 20 here. This kind of output. So is it clear? So this will be the this will be the output. And what if we have any minus? See here what happens. Range of 20 comma 10. I'm saying start with the 20, go till 10 with the -2 step. What happens? Let's see. It's now printing the values in a descending order fashion. Why? Because see here, the start value is higher and the stop value is lower. And we are saying just go with a step of -2. What happens here? It's very simple. Start value is 20, right? 20, 19, 18, and 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, sorry. It's saying that start with 10. So we need to end here. Okay. So here I'm just passing the step as -2. What happens if it is -2? -2 is nothing but it just goes in a minus. I mean, it's a negative direction, right? It will just goes in a negative direction. If you want to understand this, I'll print out here. So this is the positive axis and negative axis. Okay, this is the positive x-axis, this is the negative x-axis, positive axis, negative y-axis. So here what are the values we have? See here we have value starting from 20 and it will reaches till 10. So what happens? See here we have the value of 20 and it will reach till 10. Okay, so the direction will be the negative direction. From positive to, it will just moving towards the negative end. Okay, this is the negative, right? Left, when it goes from right to left, then it is in moving from positive to negative direction. So what happens when I give step as a step value as -2? What happens? It will just minus. It will just calculates the difference from this start number. So what will be the difference? See here, 20 minus 2, it will print out, sorry, it starts from 20 and then 1 2, what happens? The third value is 18, right? And 1 2, what happens? The third value is 16. And 1 2, what happens? The third value is 14. And 1 2, what happens? The third value is 12. And 1 2, what happens? The third value is 10. But what happens? The third here, the 10 is nothing but the stop value. So which is exclusive. So it won't print the 10. It will just prints out 20 to 12. See here, it has printed out 20 to 12. It hasn't given the value of stop, that is exclusive. It is exclusive in nature. So this is all about the range. This is all about the range. And here, see here, till now we have covered all these things. And here we have another two kind of things, list and tuple. And another one amazing property for this range is I have forgotten that it is immutable. Yeah, it is immutable in nature. Immutable means, let's have a look here. X is equal to list. X is equal to list of range of 20 comma 10 comma -2. What happens if I call X? It just gives me all these things. Okay, when I want to manipulate the first value, that is this particular 20 value, as a 10, will it work? Let's see. See here, yeah. So yeah, what happens is uh, actually it works. It works. Why? Because it has been passed inside a list, right? So here I have just passed this entire range function inside the list. So when I do a bit of manipulation here, it's working actually. What if I pass the, let's say, range of 10 comma 20 comma 2, and I want to print the y, and I want to print out print y. See here, I'm just getting like this. If I want to print, if I want to manipulate y of 0 is equal to 1, will it work? It won't work, because see here, range object does not support item assignment. Why? Because here we have already explained range is a immutable in nature. That is, we can't manipulate once we have assigned. But here it is working. Why it is working? Because I have just passed all the entire range function inside the list. List is a mutable thing. So we can change the values inside a list. So I have changed this list. So it will be working. But as far as the range is concerned, it won't work. If I want to see here, if I want to change, let's see what happens if I see here. I want to print out the y of 0. What is the value that has stored inside the index number 0 of y variable? It will be nothing but the 10, this value 10. Okay. And what is the value of y of 1? 12, right? So y of 3, 16. Okay. Y of 4, 18. What if y of 5? It will give an error. Why? Because it will have only the value still 18. The 20 here is out of index. It is the exclusive in nature. See here, I have already explained. See here. I'm just going here 10 to 20. So this side, this side I'm going 10 to 20. So this particular 20 value is exclusive in nature. Exclusive. It won't be including in our output. So we are getting output only till the value 18. Why? Because we are saying the step value is equal to 2 plus 2. So till 18 we are getting the output. We won't be getting any 20 value. Why? Because it's an exclusive value. This is all. So yeah, so that's all for the range function. And when we have another two data types, that is lists and tuples. Lists and tuples. What is meant by list? I'll say one by one. It is used to store multiple items in a single variable. And inside a list, duplicate values are allowed inside a list. And what is the third property? We can have different types of data inside the list. These are all the three properties, and the fourth one is it's mutable in nature. It's mutable in nature. Okay, that is, we can modify particular data inside the list. So I'll give you a real kind of examples. Okay, for example, I have a variable a, and Inside that variable, I have the elements like Naruto, and I have his age like 25, and I have his salary like 50,000, and I have something called his height, like let's say 6.2 feet. When I press Shift Enter, what happens? When I call this particular variable A, it just prints out all the elements inside the particular variable Naruto. 1 minute. Okay, so when you just call A, it just prints out all the elements inside the variable. So here what you have observed here, Naruto, is the string, right? And 25 is the integer. 50,000 is the integer. And 6.2 is the float. So see here, Naruto, it's the string, and 25 is nothing but the integer, and 50,000 is the integer. 6.2 is the float. So a single list is carrying different kind of data types, which is our third point. See here, now you have observed the third point in reality, right? See here, different kind of data types are being stored inside a single variable, which is nothing but a list, right? So, and we can access the elements just like above. Like I want to call the value 25. So what I'm assigning is, I'm assigning the one, a of 1. What happens? It will just prints out 25. Why? Because see here, see, for all these values, the index number is 0 for Naruto, and 1 for 25, and 2 for 50,000, 3 for 6.2. Beyond 3, we don't have any kind of index number. So till 3, we can call whatever we want, and it will just prints out what is the corresponding value of that index. For example, the corresponding value of this 3 index is 6.2. Corresponding value of 2 is 50,000. Corresponding value of 1 is 25. Corresponding value of 0 is Naruto. So I want to print out Naruto because I'm a fan of him. Big fan, not a small one, but a big fan of him. So what I can do is a of 0. What happens? I'm just getting the output as Naruto, right? My favorite hero. So like this we can do. This is a kind of thing which we can call as slicing. Sorry, this is not the slicing, this is the indexing. Why it's known as indexing? Because we are just accessing all the elements based on the particular index number, right? So it is known as the indexing. I'll give few more examples. Like I have my list is equal to 20, and inside that I have Samsung. It's a kind of string. Okay, and another string as Apple, and we have 5.6 here. I want to print out all the my list. What happens? It will just prints out all the contents inside a list like this. So this is mutable. List elements are mutable. Mutable is nothing but, for example, I have here Samsung, right? So I want to change the Samsung and rename the particular brand as OnePlus. Okay, because I'm a OnePlus user, so I'm gonna change this my list of. So just calculate the index. What is the index for 20? See here. Oh, see here. For 20, the index number is 0. Samsung 1. Apple 2. 5.63. So for the Samsung, it's 1, right? So I'm just passing the index number for this list is equal to, I'm just giving 1 plus, right? So when I access this, when I print out this list, right? When I print out this list, this my list, what happens? See here, the value has been changed. Instead of this Samsung string, I got my string as 1 plus because I have already changed it. This is nothing but the mutable, right? We can modify all the data inside the list. This is nothing but mutable. These are mutable. See here, these are all the mutable things. That's why lists are mutable in nature. See, I have already explained why it is mutable. I mean, how to witness whether it's mutable or not. I have already explained. I have already explained different types of data are there inside the list, and it is used to store multiple items, right? Because Naruto is one item, 25 is the second item, third, fourth. See, we have 4 different items has been stored in the list. So I have already explained this also, and yeah, duplicate values are allowed inside a list. I'll explain this. Let's say my list 2 is equal to Samsung, comma Onida, comma Takai, comma Takai, comma Samsung, comma 50. What happens when I hit shift enter? See here, it's taking all the duplicate values because the Samsung has been repeated twice, right? Here I have the Samsung, and here also I have the Samsung, and see here I have the brand Takai. Here also I have the Takai. So when I print out the my list, what happens? See here, when I try to print out my list 2, what happens? It's just print. I mean, it's just printing out all the duplicate values, including the duplicate values. Samsung, Takai. So this is nothing but the practical explanation of this second point. So by this, I have already covered the lists item, and another thing I want to explain is another property known as ordered. Lists are ordered, right? Lists are ordered, and these are dynamic. I'll explain what are all the terminologies. I'll explain, but let's see. Lists are ordered, and these are also dynamic in nature. I'll explain one by one. So what is meant by the ordered? Ordered is nothing but, for example, the all the elements inside the lists are ordered in a sequence. Ordered in a sequence. For example, let's say list 1. I'm just creating a list like 1 comma 5 comma 6 comma 9 comma 8 comma 3. When I prints out the list 1, what happens? See here. And again, right now I'm creating a list 2 is equal to, I'm just, see here, observe here carefully. I have just passed 1, 5, 6, 9, 8, 3. I'm just repeating all the numbers here again itself in the list 2, but not with this particular order. I just want to print this in a reverse order. 5 comma 8 comma 6 comma 9 comma 1. 3, 8, 6, 9, 1 comma 5. Okay, so I have just repeated all the elements here also, but with a different kind of order. Okay, so now I want to print out what will be the output of this list 2. What happens? See here, I have got the result as the elements presented in this particular list, right? So, and I want to compare whether my list 1 is equal to list 2 or not. See here, list 1 is equal to list 2. I just want to know whether it's true or false. It's actually false. Why it's false? Actually, I have already passed all the items which has been presented here inside this particular list, but it's giving me the false. Why? Because the order is different. Here I have given some specific order 1 5 6 9 8 3, but here I have changed the order. So due to that, it's comparing this particular character to this particular character. See here, it has already been there 1, but it is there for 3. So 1 and 3, there is no match. So it will definitely prints out the false. Every character in each of the lists needed to be in a equal manner. For example, if I have this 1, it should be the 1, but it has some 3, so it will gives me an error. I mean, not error, like it just prints out these two lists are not equal because these two lists have some different order, right? Yeah. And we can also say that list is a dynamic. List is a dynamic. It has a dynamic nature. What is that mean by? For example, I want to know what are all the items that are presented in list 1. See here, I have 156,983. I want to add 200 to this list. How to do that? List plus is equal to 200. Oh, sorry. Here I haven't passed this list 1. I have just, okay, now it won't give me that. So I want to know whether it has been updated or not. See here, it has been added 156,983. After 3, I have my value as 200 because I have already incremented my value to this particular list. Due to this kind of facility, it has been awarded as a dynamic in nature, right? So and what we can do, we can also do slicing. I'll show you what is meant by slicing. See I have here I have list 1. All the items has been printed for this list 1. But I only want to print the items, print the elements from 5 to 3. How to do that? For 5, it has the index number 1. So from starting from the 1, I need to go till 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to give 6. What happens? See here, I'm just printing 5 to 3. So the index number 1 is for the 5. I'll explain. It's 56983, right? 56983. 56983. So for each of these values, it has the index number starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I want to print only 5 to 3. What can I do? I want to pass list 1 of, I want to pass this particular 0 value, right? 0. Sorry, 156983, right? Okay. Here it has 1, 5, 6983, 200. It has the values like this. So I want to, then the index will be like this, right? But I want to print only this 5 to 3. How to do that? For 5, what is the value of the index? 1. So I need to pass 1. And for the 3, what is the value of the index? 5. But I should not pass 5 because it is exclusive value, right? It is exclusive. So I need to pass the next index number. So the 6 will be exclusive, and till 5 it will print out from 1, right? So that's what I have already done. That's what I have done. So due to this nature, it is dynamic in nature. Okay. And also we can delete. We can delete. Delete is a keyword with which we can delete. Let's see. List 1. I want to delete 200 because this is an outlier, right? See, 156,983 all are the single digits. But here 200 is a kind of a double digit number. It is more extreme value. So I don't want to keep this value inside my list. So what I can do, I want to find out this particular index number. So what is that index number of 200? It is 6. So I need to delete the 6 from the list 1. So what happens when I print out list 1? It won't be having, see here, 156983. It won't have any 200 value because I have already deleted. I have already deleted with delete keyword. Okay. So yeah, so this is nothing but this is all about list. And we can have some other property. Last property of the list is nothing but it has some kind of operators, right? We can use some operators, can use some operators with lists. What are those? In operator, not in operator, plus operator, asterisk operator. Also we can use some built-in functions like len, min, max. So how to do that? We can easily do this. For example, so we have a list called list1. So I want to check, I want to know whether whether there is any value with 9 in this particular list. I want to know. True. Why it is true? Because I have the value 9 inside my list, right? Let's say I want to know whether I have 200 in my list 1 or not. False. Why it is false? Because I don't have any kind of 200 number inside my list. It has already been deleted here. Okay, I have already deleted, so it will give me the false. And print Naruto in list 1 or not. I just want to know whether my list 1 has a string named Naruto or not. False. Why false? Because it doesn't have any kind of strings, right? So that's it. So, and we can use so many operators, like we can see here list 1. I want to use plus operator, and I want to give this Naruto string inside the list. I want this to be printed inside this list. What happens? See here, it has been printed inside this list, right? When I call list1, what happens? It won't be adding. Why? Because we haven't assigned all these function to any particular value, right? So it won't be adding. For example, if I want to assign this, like a is equal to list1 plus Naruto. Okay, so I want to print the value of a. It will be adding. See here, it will be adding. That's it. And if I want to print list1 for 9 times, what happens? See here, all this entire, sorry, not this, but this particular, yeah, all this entire list1 has been printed for 9 times. See here, this is the use of asterisk symbol or any plus symbol inside the list. Okay, and also we can use print length of, we want to know how many elements are present inside the list one. So when we use length function, it shows us 6. What are the 6 elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are all the 6 elements, right? So and what if we want to know minimum? What is the minimum number inside the list one function? Inside the list one, what is the minimum value? 1 is the minimum value, right? And what is the maximum value? 9. So if we want to know what is the maximum value, max of list 1, see here we have got the 9. See here, this is the maximum value, right? And so this is all about the lists. And let's look for the tuple right now. Okay, so let's move on to the tuple here. So I have already explained all the points with the help of an example. So and when you want now I can explain tuple, right? What is meant by the tuple? These are also the same as of lists. Can be, not can be, used to store multiple items in a single variable. Data is ordered. It has some specific order. Okay. It's immutable. That is, we can't change once it is assigned. Duplicate values are allowed. Did you remember this kind of property? Duplicate values are remembered. Uh, we have already observed this particular value inside the lists also. See here, duplicate values are allowed inside a list. There is no, there is no such property in strings or in range. Duplicate values are only allowed for lists and tuples, right? So just remember this point. These are the most important points when it comes to the interview point of view. And the fifth point is tuples can be used inside a list cell. Sorry. Tuple be an real replacement for the list. Okay. Tuples are replacement for the lists if we wish to store the data that should not be changed. If we don't want to change our data in our code, then we can store the data in form of a tuples. So I'll explain one by one with the real examples. So yeah, let's go to the Google Colab first and look for it. Okay. The syntax will be you want to know the syntax, right? So syntax is nothing but these are all the syntax. See here, we are storing different kind of data types inside a single variable, and these elements have open brackets around them. This is nothing but a tuple. Okay, tuple will have open brackets around them, and the lists will have the square brackets around them, like this. This is the example of tuples. Okay, let's move on to this tuple topic. So, for example, tuple 1, I have this variable. I have this tuple 1, and inside this tuple 1, I have some like name and salary, age. These three kind of strings I have. Let's say I have some height 6.2 and weight is 89 kgs, let's say. Okay. So these are all the form of tuples. When I hit shift enter, it will get stored in the form of a variable. And one important thing I want to share with you is the sixth point is we can use some operators with tuples. Example, plus asterisk operations we can use. In addition to that, we can also use a membership operator also. I'll explain what are all these. Membership, iteration operation, all these we can use inside a tuples, with tuples. Okay. And we can also use few built-in functions with tuples, like len, min, max, etc. So I'll explain point by point right now. Let's go to the Google Colab. For example, I want to print the length of tuple 1. Tuple 1 is this particular variable. I want to print out the length of that variable. What is the length? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and let's see whether it works or not. Max. See, it gives me an error because I think, yeah, Tuple won't support this particular maximum or minimum. let's say what, okay, no worries. What if we have tuple 2 is equal to 2 comma 8 comma 9 comma 1? What if I want to find the maximum out of this? Okay, it's giving me this. Why? Because it's made of completely made of numerical values. While it's made of while this previous variable tuple 1 has some kind of strings and some kind of numerical values. So for in this scenario it won't work, and where if the tuple has only the numerical values, then we can use the maximum or minimum function like this. Tuple 2, see here we'll get 1 as the minimum value. We can also perform some basic operations with the operators like print of tuple 1 plus not tuple 1, that's tuple 2. See here, the tuple 2 is nothing but the tuple 2 is 2891, right? And I'm just assigning, I want to have some kind of operation using this plus operator. I'm just passed these additional tuples like 1 comma 2. What if this is doing? What is this doing? It's just concatenating, right? It's just concatenating with the earlier tuple 2891, and then it has been concatenating these two values 1 comma 2. Okay, this is for concatenation. And what if we want to use this asterisk operator, and let's see. Okay, so it's giving me this entire tuple for 9 times, right? And also we can use like, see, the scope is unlimited. Whatever you want to try, you can try inside Python. So there is no limit. For example, I want to check whether I have the number 2 inside my tuple 2. I'll check like this. What happens? It's true. Why? Because inside the tuple 2, I have the number called 2. So it's giving me the true. What if I want to check 200 not in tuple 2? I want to know where, I mean, I just want to make sure this 200 is not there in tuple 2. Obviously, the 200 hasn't been presented there. So obviously it will become true. Yes. Why? Because see here, inside the tuple 2, it won't have any kind of 200. And we are checking with not in. Remember this point, not in. That is, I'm saying I don't have any 200 in my tuple 2. Whether it's right, I'm checking like this. See, it's printing, it's giving me the output as true because it truly doesn't have any output with the number 200. Right? That's it. And similarly, what we can, some operators like so yeah, we can also use tuples in for loop. For example, for I in for I in tuple 2, print I. What happens? I'm just getting all the elements of the tuple 2. See here, it has the tuple 2. These are the elements of the tuple 2, 2891. So when I print each element with the help of for loop, it will be printing in a line by line scenario. So and so this is what uh, this is what it is with the tuples. And one thing I want to explain, the logical operators and identity operators, membership operators, but uh, I think the video is a bit very lengthy, so I can explain all those things in the next video. So as far as it is concerned, I've explained the need of DSA algorithm, what is meant by algorithm, what is data structure, what are all the different data types, basic, and inside the basic data types, numeric. Inside the numeric, int, float, complex, Boolean. What do you mean by the sequence? Sequence is nothing but the string, range, list, tuple. All these things I have already explained. See here. So, okay, I'll be sharing with you. I'll be sharing this notepad file, and I'll also be sharing this IPYNB file with you. So that's all for this class. Thank you so much. Jai Hind. And I forgot something to say. Yeah. So in the next video, I'm gonna explain what is meant by membership, what is meant by identity, what is meant by logical operators. Okay. So in the next video, I'm gonna explain all these things. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Take care. Good night. Jai Hind.